Hey guys, welcome back to Bass Squatch. I'm Cody, and today in the garage I want to show you a little building with Bass Squatch segment here. What I want to show you how to do is how to make your very own paddle leashes, rod leashes, gear leashes, springy, cool little leashes. You can use them for hunting, for fishing, for whatever. Today I'm going to show you how to make some that are custom colored. Let's get into it. So first off, I'm just going to make a short one today, only 6 inches. It's 6 inches before you recoil it. You'll see what witchcraft is about. So, you take yourself a 3/8 inch wooden dowel rod like this. I've got multiple holes drilled in it, so you can do different size coils with it. But, basically, I'm going to do a 6 inch one, which is from here to here. And get you a 3/16 drill bit. And drill 3/16 holes in it wherever you want your coil to start and stop. Use a 3/8 dowel rod because it fits in the chuck of a drill really easily. And then, I'm not good at math. Some of you who are good with math can probably figure out the equation to how many inches of weed eater string you need per inches of coil. So, and what I like to use at the cheapest weed eater string you can buy. 0.095 is the size that I use. I forgot how much this is, but I literally went to Lowe's and bought the cheapest stuff you could buy. You can buy this stuff too. This is steel weed eater string. It's orange. So that's pretty cool. And then, if you want to make your leashes custom colors and stuff, you get you some paracord. Regular old paracord. I like this brand, Paracord Planet. They're cheap and they've got a giant selection of different colors and stuff. This color matches kind of the stuff on my kayak, so that's why I've got this color. But you measure yourself out a length that is the same length as the weed eater string you're going to be using, obviously. What you do is you pull the guts of the paracord out, so you're left with just basically just the outer sheath of it. So this takes a little bit of time, but not too bad. I'm sure Alex can fast forward through this, make it look faster. There you go. So we've got that. Now what you want to do, really helps anyway, is just take a lighter and kind of burn the ends. It makes it to where it's easy to work with. This side's already been done. Now here comes the really tedious part. So you want to take your weed eater trimmer line, make sure it's nice and clean on the end, and you're very meticulously going to work the weed eater string into the paracord. This part takes, I'm not gonna say it's the most time consuming part, but it's definitely the most tedious and annoying part. Alright, and there you have it. Work the paracord all the way onto the weed eater string. Here's where it starts to get fun. Now this can be a royal pain in the butt when you're first learning how to do it. I'm gonna try to help you here. So I like to start from the bottom and go up. So you're gonna work your string and your paracord sheath. You want both of them to go through the hole like that. And guys, the tag end that you leave out, the part that isn't going to be coiled, that is going to vary on what you're going to do with it. Because at the end, you're usually going to crimp a connector, like a electrical lug on it, or you can double it over and pinch it with a aluminum ferrule. So the tag end is really specific to what you're going to do with it. I recommend leaving more than what you need. You can always trim it off. So, how we're gonna start this? We got just like that. Oop. Just like that. And we're gonna slowly, we're gonna keep pressure on it. I don't know how well you can see this. And keep pressure on it. And we're gonna coil it. Keep a lot of pressure on it and make sure these coils are tight. If it starts to get away from you and the coils start getting kind of spaced out, stop, keep your pressure on it, and just slide the coils down with your hand. Okay, I always end up with more than what I need. So here is where, here's a trick I like to use, because here's where it becomes really tedious. I take a pair of vice grips and I clamp them on to the string. Now, because your hand will start cramping trying to hold that on there. So then you cut, once again, cut however long you need. Run it back through that hole at the top. Kind of got to work it at this point because the coil's really fighting against you. There we go. Take that and you pull it tight. Okay, now you can take your vice grips off of it and it'll stay, and you can take it out of the chuck of your drill. That's what you got there. Alright, now comes a here's where the magic starts to happen. Alright, now we're to the step where the magic starts to happen. Get you a pan, get you one that'll obviously fit your entire dowel rod operation into. Get some water in it and set it to boil. It doesn't have to be a rolling boil, just, you know, just hot boiling. That sounds stupid, but so what you're gonna do, you're gonna drop your piece into it. And you're gonna get you a timer. You're gonna set it for 10 minutes. Alright, 10 minutes has elapsed. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna take it out of the water without burning ourselves. And we're gonna throw that thing in the freezer. And we're gonna restart our timer for another 10 minutes. Alright. After 10 minutes of boiling, 10 minutes in the freezer, you take it out. It's plenty cold to work with, and the reason that you do that is because the thermal shock thing, it sets the coil. So now you take it and you just push it off, and now it's not crazy. So now you slide it out of the dowel and you're left with this. Which is cool, plenty stringy, but once you take it off the coil, gosh, you got almost a foot long coil. So here's where the magic part takes place. Take the end of the string, lock it in the chuck of your drill. So here's where it begins to get really cool. So what you do, you take the end of it and you put it into the chuck of your drill. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna put the drill in reverse. And that's what you're looking for right there. You see that? Looks like a mess. But you're gonna watch that coil, that weird coil that we just created. it's gonna move. Stop bouncing. It's gonna move all the way down to your other hand. Once it hits that, let go, and now you have a tight, really springy coil. So you reverse the coil onto itself, and it, I don't know, science. But yeah, now you're left with that. Alright, now comes the part where we're going to put ends on it. Now you've got a couple options here. The easier, sometimes more expensive option though, is electric cable lugs like this. And the second option is these aluminum furls, they call them. They're for cables. I think these are 1/8 of an inch. I think, I can't remember. But you can find either of them at a hardware store. So what you do, we're going to use both today. So I'm going to, with the end that's shorter, I'm going to cut it. And I'll tell you why here in a second. I'm going to cut that flush with the paracord where I want it to be. I'm going to slide the lug onto it, make sure it gets the paracord too. Or at least I like to make sure it does. You gotta crimp that bad boy on there. Sometimes I'll put it in my vise and I'll crush it, make sure it's extra on there. You're left with that. Then you're gonna take yourself some heat shrink tubing. Again, get that at the hardware store. And you're gonna shrink that onto the lug. That way it makes it nice and pretty. Takes away any sharp objects, or sharp edges I mean, or anything like that. Nice and professional looking. Okay, and then you can cut the opening. And now you have an end that's ready to put a carabiner in, or whatever, however you want to do it. So there's that end. The other one, it's nice and long and the sheathing is cut back. We're going to put this aluminum ferrule. This .095 weed eater string fits perfect into that, and we're going to double it back through, so you get that essentially. And you can take a hammer and put it on the floor or something and smash that sucker down, or once again I put mine in my vise, smash it there. Now that end, both ends are fully prepared, ready to use them for whatever you want to. I'm going to give you some tips here on how I like to do it. If you're using these for a rod leash application, I recommend getting you, here's an example of one that I made a long time ago. Get you like a 1-inch key ring, split ring key ring, and put it on there and put the other end on these. This is called a cable cuff. These things are super handy. You can find them on Amazon. You can find them at Lowe's, Home Depot, I believe. But these things are really cool. And you put one of them on that end, and I'll show you. So, in a rod holder application like this, I got an old Kayak crate that I built years ago. Put a rod in there. You open up your cable cuff. Put it around the rod, zip it down. Now, if the worst happens, your rods will be secure. You can use one hand and open them, so they're pretty handy. Now, in a paddle leash application, I've done it 2 different ways. I'll show you the easiest and the first way that I'll do it. You do it almost just like you would the rod holder with the cable cuff, but you get a 2-inch cable cuff. And same principle. Put that on your paddle when you start the day, cramp that thing down, and you're good. At the end of the day, you can take it off. What I like to do is I put a zip tie on either end of where this is going to rest. That way this thing isn't sliding around. It's annoying when the thing is sliding back and forth on your paddle with every stroke. So that's the first way that I do it. I'm going to take a small piece of string that I got here, and I'm going to show you the alternative way, which is the new way that I like to do it. What you do, get yourself the end of your paddle. This is half of a paddle I had laying around. And take your string. This would be your end. So mind you, this would be one side of your coil would come off of here. Take it and get it. Well, measure the distance around that, and remember that, and then take that measurement and cut a piece of paracord that is the same length as that circumference. Then what you're gonna do, you're gonna take a cable furl like we used in the one. We're gonna put it around down through one side, and we're gonna run the line back through it on the other end, so you end up with a deal that looks just like that. And what we're gonna do, take that to the vise, and we're gonna smash it. Make sure it never comes up, because the last thing you want is to be up you know what creek without a paddle. So now you got this permanent loop in the end. You trim one side flush, obviously, make it look nice. And same deal, you would take some heat shrink tubing, put it over that, heat it up, cut you a piece of that. And slide it over the cable furl. And shrink it down on there. There, now that looks nice and tidy. So then what you're gonna do, when you get to the water every day, or you can leave it on. I leave my paddles on and I strap them in the boat. You just loop that around your paddle. And you grab your other end of the paddle and you lock it in, and bam, it's not going anywhere. And again, what I like to do, I take me 2 zip ties. Wherever I want that leash to stay at, usually around the center, put your zip tie on one side. Get that thing really tight. That way it doesn't slide around on you. Okay. Now the other one. I put right on the end of the other half of the paddle. So now, when you take your paddle apart, you got a zip tie on each end. That's going to keep it centrally located, and you can take your end right off, and that's about it. I prefer this method to the cable cuff one. It's just a cleaner, simpler method of doing it. And when I do my paddle leashes, I do a 1 foot section of dowel rod. Same procedure, same exact process I just showed you, but I use a 1 foot, because after you recoil it, and it shrinks down. It gives you plenty of room to stretch your paddle. It gives you room that you can stand up and move your paddle like that if you wanted to. Don't lose your gear, and remember, stay wild. Thanks for watching.